Hey, so on your sheets you might see Hydro Herb. We changed that to Herb Smart. So it's a different name. I'm Mauricio, this is Gian, this is Shreya. So basically in today's society, we've been moving into smaller houses, condos, townhomes, because living expenses are going up. And because of that, our gardening has gone down. We don't have gardens anymore. So people with, the green thumb that want to keep gardening, growing herbs, they can't anymore. People want to grow or learn to grow, they can't. Also, people who don't have time and who just want quick herbs, they can't have them as well. With this hydroponic system, now let me explain what a hydroponic system is. Instead of using soil to bring nutrients to the plant, you use water to bring nutrients to the plant. Same way, I can explain it further, but it's basically that. Our system is something you can put in your kitchen. It looks decorative, but it also provides herbs that you don't have to touch, you don't have to do anything to grow them. It provides light sensors, photoreceptors to take in light, and with that, it puts up and down the amount of light given and the hue given to the plants. We also have a pH sensor that will measure the pH and thus change the nutrient level in the water. We have a water level sensor in case the water gets down. On all this information, it goes to the microcontroller. The microcontroller processes the information, and then it takes it to the phone, where a user will be able to control all of our data. Gene will let you know about the microcontroller and how that works.
So the highest level overview of the microcontroller and how it's going to affect the plant's ecosystem, it's going to have a short polling cycle to gather the data from the inputs that we have. It's going to gather the water level, the pH balance, and the light that we are outputting to the plant system. The poll cycle will be short enough to be able to gather information quickly enough to make changes efficiently. Plants can't be in suboptimal conditions for very long before affecting them negatively. And then the next part is the web application. We want to host a web server from the Arduino and basically communicate with the web browser via HTTP requests. The web browser will do another quick poll cycle to be able to read from the Arduino and basically output to the user relevant information that they might want to know. And then we can also push information onto the Arduino in order to change the configuration. So again, to affect the plant's ecosystem. And Shreya will continue a bit more.
So I'll talk about the third and the last component of the system, which is the phone app. So when the user downloads the app for the first time, he'll be presented with an empty pot, and he can choose the herb that he wants to grow in the system. So as soon as he chooses the herb, he'll be presented with some general information, which will serve as a self-learning kit, information about the herb. And the next part would be the app will set up some preset for the parameters like light and pH, and the user will also be given an option to change in case he wants to change those parameters. Also, the app would be getting information from the Arduino when the water level goes below a certain level, so the user will be notified that the level has gone below and he can put the water from the external system. So basically the app will fulfill like two requirements, one it being a self-learning kit and the other being a control management system for the whole hydroponic system.
So it's kind of the three parts that are the major thing. Any question?
Yeah, so I had one, right? So what would be a metric of success for your project?
So, something we can't really measure is the satisfaction of the person buying this product. Because there's two different types of people. One person would like to learn how to grow herbs, buy this. Another type of person just wants to have quick herbs available in their kitchen. That metric would be the satisfaction of how fast and the quality the herbs can be grown. The metrics we can measure, though, are self-sustainability. How long can we leave this system running without you doing anything? I think the biggest constraint for that would be the water level, because at some point the plants would use all the water. Something else we can measure is the accuracy of the homeostasis of the system. So depending on our sensors, what's our accuracy to 5%, can we keep the system in a homeostasis environment?
What are the might want to, at the time that they're selecting which herbs they're going to plant or whatever, there's probably an advertising capability there, right? People that sell these.
That is true.
You might get some dollars coming in.
Get the money.
Yes.
Get them.
So what are you measuring to find out if everything's growing well?
So, there's not too much to measure, I'm going to be honest. Plants require a couple things: a pH, a balance of nutrients, water, and light. They require a lot more things, but we can't control. In an environment like this, we can't control that. Because it has
You
to
can
be-
measure the light.
We can measure the light incoming,
Yeah.
and if it's not enough, then we'll go ahead and turn the lights on, and we'll change the hue depending on what plant you're growing.
Okay.
So if you're growing a certain plant in this one, this light will change the hue to accompany that plant.
How
because
do you
different-
find out about the nutrients?
The nutrients? So an EC meter, electrical conductivity meter, measures pH, and pH kind of goes directly with the nutrient level. We might add a second kind of EC sensor to define pH and nutrients, but pH goes directly with nutrients.
Okay.
So you made a comment about having a web server and give all the information to the user, right? So what's the benefit of that, just a thought? Because I think you have a good idea of making it work by itself with no intervention.
So, thing is, there's already products like these are already out there. What we wanted to add, was something that you could have on your phone, and you can have data and know when and what your plants are doing. Kind of like having, today you have your refrigerator, your toaster, everything's connected to something, and that's we want to bring your whole, living environment connected to your phone, to the palm of your hand. Also, the second part of having the phone app is the database, because we want people. You can't just put an herb and know how to cut it, know when to prune it, etc. You need some information, some facts on how to grow these herbs. That's going to be through the web app.
One last question.
How are you planning on managing nutrients? Are you just going to alert the user to feed the plants, or are you going to have something like a fish feeder or something?
Something we didn't mention, we do have a nutrient dispenser. We'll have a little motor with tube motor with it, and you'll go ahead and insert nutrients into a little tank, and say the pH goes too low, the microprocessor will process that information, and with that, we'll dispense an X amount of nutrients into the system. That way, we can go ahead and keep running for 2 weeks or more.
What about the safety of the system? What about flood in the apartment?
Oh yeah. I mean, it could flood. It could flood. You have the electronics right in the middle of all the water. The safety is a big one, but it can't really flood because the water is self-sustained. The only way you can flood is if you add too much water. The water is added by yourself. Once the water goes down to a certain level, you want to take a jug and add the water to one of these 3 containers. So the only flood system, it could be like a leak or a crack in the whole frame, lead to a flood.
You might think about a camera that could look at the plant and use some AI to detect if it's wilty or not, something like that.
That would be
Now you're getting pretty
a
fancy.
step
but-
higher, yeah.
All right. Thank you.